Hello ladies and gents, I am DKD6.
And I'm Nexus of Ice.
And right now you're listening to episode 3 of DeeKay Nexus Discussions. That's right, we haven't got a new name yet, we're still thinking of one, so for now we're just going to go with it. In today's episode we're talking about various topics including Metal Gear, Halo, 343 Industries, Microsoft, Apple, and even a massive, gigantic, freaking 8K TV, so let's get on with it. Okay, so first up, let's talk about Metal Gear Solid 5. Nexus, have you played any of this?
I'm admitting ignorance on this one. I've been slowly backing off of the Metal Gear series in a while. I'm pretty much gonna wait till it goes on sale. I know everyone says it's amazing, but right now it is not exactly on the top tier of my list.
And honestly, the game is absolutely amazing. If I had to give it a rating out of 10, it would be 11. It really is that good.
I would believe that, except I would probably give it more of a 9 because of
What?
the. I would give it a 9 specifically because of the microtransactions that they slapped in there.
Oh, you did. You don't even have to. You don't have to use them. I haven't even looked at them because I haven't needed to.
It's a sense of principle for me, though.
Yeah, most games have some form of microtransactions.
I'm not doubting that it's not a fun. That it's a fun game at all. It looks great. It's not my type of game like that I rush to right off the bat. I usually play them a year or two after they came out, and usually for like a $30 or less price tag. That's just a personal thing.
Oh man, you just got to. I've put over 30 hours into it, and I've only done 5% because I
You
keep
got the
getting
one
sidetracked.
with the replica arm, right?
Yeah, the half-size American European version where we all got bent over a table, and Japan won with a full-size arm. So unfair.
Japan's just compensating. It's okay, man.
Yeah, and if you're interested in seeing an unboxing for that replica bionic arm, check my channel. I did an unboxing. Shameless plug.
All right. So, what are the key, key points of the game that you wanted to talk about?
I just wanted to outline. I just wanted to give a brief overview of the game, and I just wanted to tell our listeners that if they haven't already bought this game, if they haven't played it yet, then I seriously recommend you go out and buy it. Even if you haven't enjoyed Metal Gear games in the past, this one is quite different. It's open world. You can literally do anything. You can roam the world. You can ride on horseback. The amount of things that you can develop in the game in terms of weapons and tools and gadgets and stuff, there is so much you can do, and the world is a vast living world with gods and animals, and honestly the amount of things that you can do in this game is just outstanding, and it really is the perfect swan song for the end of the Hideo Kojima Metal Gear games. I know Konami said that they're going to carry on with it, but I don't think anyone cares. If Hideo Kojima's not part of it, then I don't think many people are going to really stay loyal to the franchise if it's just Konami developing it without Kojima. So yeah, if you haven't played it, go buy it and play it. You will not regret it. The game is incredible.
It's a full sandbox, right?
Yes, full sandbox. You go do what you want. There's no restrictions. There's a full weather system. It's nuts. The game is insane. But yeah, go buy it.
All right, awesome. What's the next topic, man?
Oh, the next topic, and this is Apple. The recent conference they had regarding the new iPhone, new iPad, and that sort of stuff. What do you think of the new iPhone 6s and 6s Plus?
Pretty much like anything else, it's a standard, upgrade. Standard Apple upgrade. It's not anything that I don't think people with the current 6 model should jump up, out of bed for and run in their car to get. But it's upgraded hardware. I did hear that they this may just be a rumor, but people who have been talking about, I did hear that they actually increased the durability of the frame, so the mysterious bending problem won't be as predominant.
Yeah, apparently they're using some sort of military grade aluminium now, or aluminum for you Americans.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So it'll be a lot stronger, and apparently the glass that they're using on the device is the strongest glass like available. So I think it's stronger than Gorilla Glass and that sort of thing.
Okay, that's awesome. I have seen, yeah, Gorilla Glass is crazy. But yeah, that's the one thing that I did hear that is actually a significant improvement was the overall durability of the phone. And I think the Plus obviously suffered more of that problem than the smaller one because, well, you have more leverage to actually do that sort of stuff. But that is the one improvement that I'm glad they at least addressed directly. But I'm not a huge iPhone person, but it is good to hear that they, see the problems and they fix them when needed.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've had every iPhone since the iPhone 3GS. I've had every single one on launch pretty much. So right now I've got the iPhone 6 Plus, and I haven't had any bending problems. But a friend of mine did have a bending problem. But yeah, quick thing I wanted to mention was the new iPhone 6s will have a pressure sensitive screen, so you can actually navigate things on the phone in a different way. So you can actually push down on the screen, and it will do different things when you do that. And of course, do you have anything else to add regarding the
Uh,
iPhone?
is the you said the iPad is also coming out? Have they? You said they're using a new materials in the construction. Is that also transferring over to the iPad as well? So stronger aluminum, stronger glass, that sort of stuff.
I They never said anything about the iPad. I don't know. I would assume that they would be using similar materials on the iPad, but the
I would
iPad
hope
never
so, because that
had.
means you wouldn't have to source multiple materials.
Yeah, it would make sense if they did use the same
All right,
materials.
cool.
But yeah, the new iPad. So of course we've got the iPad Mini, which is what is it? I think it's 7.9 inches. The standard iPad is 9.7 inches, and the new iPad, which is called the iPad Pro, is 12.9 inches. I think it was. So yeah, a big size increase there. And the last thing I wanted to add about this Apple thing was that Apple has announced the Apple Pencil, which is essentially just a stylus. And I think that Steve Jobs will be turning in his grave because he's famous for saying that they will never, ever have a stylus. And, well, Apple's kind of going in the other direction now that Steve's isn't there. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the Apple topic. So moving right along, I wanted to talk about a new 8K screen that Sharp is bringing out onto the market soon. It's coming out
Who's the
next month,
maker?
I think. Sharp.
Ah, yes. Okay.
And yeah, I have a Sharp 60-inch at the moment, and I absolutely love it. So yeah, 80 inches of 8K goodness. Actually, it's 85 inches. I'm wrong. It's 85
I,
inches, 8K. What do you think?
I don't know. I'm really torn about this. It's nice that the technology's there. It's great. But I don't think we've even seen a a quarter of what 4K can do yet. The median isn't even there. So there's no way you can, even have 4K video. 4K gaming is still in its infancy, more or less. Yes, you can get it, but it's not readily available to everyone. So kind of an 8K is like, why bother? I mean, it's good that they made it. I guess they just wanted to kind of put that out there. I'm sure it's an amazing TV, but that's a very, very limited market and has very, very limited uses, in my opinion, at least.
Guess how many HDMI cables you have to plug into it to get an 8K image?
3?
4.
Oh, Jesus. Why don't they just go DisplayPort? Can't DisplayPort support? I mean, they should be able to double, right?
I don't know if DisplayPort goes up to 8K. I'm not sure.
I know DisplayPort covers a lot more than HDMI, like at least
It
double. So
does, yeah.
I was to be honest, I was expecting DisplayPort to replace HDMI within the last 2 years, but it's still holding strong.
Yeah, yeah. DisplayPort is really cool. I like DisplayPort. So yeah, it's a 8K display, 85 inches in size, 16 times the resolution of full HD, which is 1080p, and the price tag is. God, you need to guess.
Oh, 15 grand?
No, no, no. Keep going up.
Oh God, 25.
Are we talking dollars?
Yes.
Okay, keep going.
30.
No, you're way higher than that.
Oh, just tell me.
$133,000,
What?
which is 86,000 British pounds.
That's like a why effing bother.
I know.
No,
It's
there's
insane.
no. Use what? Digit. Okay, I'm sorry. Usually I try to keep my math a little clean on this, but I'll dirty it a little here. That is just a pissing contest for Sharp.
Well,
That is
yeah.
literally all that is. We made this. Look how big it is. That is literally all that is. I mean,
yeah.
unless you disagree with that.
$133,000, and yeah, if I was a millionaire, I'd buy it.
And you can have those 8K resolution photos, gloriously on that screen.
Yeah, you can run 16 Xbox Ones in full HD on one screen.
Of course, that if it has a TV that supports that much, and it does like 8K, if you could split 4 screens into one TV, okay, that has an interesting feature at least. But it's not gonna happen. No, just. I'm moving on now.
Yeah,
I'm not even going to ask about the refresh rate on it, even if it's awesome. That whole price tag just kind of threw the usefulness of that completely out the window for me.
Well, they're
Moving
going
on.
to aim it at the commercial market, so yeah.
I'm sure they are.
Okay, so moving on, and this is quite a recent topic that's come up. I know Nexus won't like this topic. It's regarding Facebook. And Mark Zuckerberg recently came out and said, good news, we're developing a dislike button. And I'm sure Nexus has something to say about this.
For the record, I don't dislike it at all. I'm just a no comment on Facebook.
Pun intended.
I just don't use Facebook. Facebook isn't my thing. I don't hate it. I just personally don't use it and don't feel the need for it.
Because you don't have any
Let me
friends.
clarify that. You're right. I don't have internet friends. I have what we call real world friends.
Oh, burn.
Moving on, I presume that they're just basically allowing you to dislike, content on the site, right?
Yeah, so like you can, if someone puts up a Facebook status update or whatever, you can hit like and you can comment, but there was never a dislike button. So now they're going to be bringing a dislike button out, but some websites are reporting that it's not actually going to say dislike. It could say something else, like
Thumbs down.
Yeah, thumbs down, but that would be a dislike. But they're saying that the wording may be different, so it doesn't actually say dislike, but it does.
But it's the complete opposite of what a like would do.
Yeah, but I think they just want to put it in a nice way, which I totally disagree with. I think people should be able to express their opinions in any way, which way they see fit, and if disliking something is disliking something, they should be able to click dislike.
I agree. If you put something out on the internet to be judged, let it be judged fairly at the very least.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a problem, and I'm quite excited so I can go on Facebook and dislike everything just to piss everyone off.
You're the optimist out of us. Yeah, heck, I'd probably freaking dislike everything on Facebook just because. But moving on.
Oh, speaking of likes and dislikes,
you guys can hate all you want then.
Yeah, speaking of likes and dislikes, hit like on this video. If you dislike it, I'll send Liam Neeson after you.
You have no shame, do you?
Hey, other channels do it. Other channels put a like button in your face. I'm not doing that. Anyways, moving on to the next topic, and it's getting slightly interesting now. We're talking about Windows 10 coming to the Xbox One, and it's coming out for preview members quite soon. I think it's this month or early next month, and I can't wait for this. And I know Nexus has something to say about this one.
Yeah, what's really cool is that for the preview members, obviously you're probably gonna have to go and sign up for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I don't think they're just gonna open it up to all preview members.
Nope.
I don't think I've heard anything about like the full accessibility of Windows 10 on it yet. Is it gonna be just integration, or is it gonna be pretty much like a Surface Pro more or less?
Oh, it's actually running. It is running Windows 10, but it's not. It's not Windows 10 at the same time. It's like the.
Is it pretty much like the RT version of their Surface tablet?
No, it's it's more customized than that. It's
Yeah, but
basically
what I'm saying is it's Windows, but it's Windows Lite.
I
In
wouldn't
a
call it
nutshell of
light.
an example, you know?
I'd call it bespoke. Light
Okay.
makes it sound cheap.
All right. So, but yes, so they are putting at least some different features and stuff like that. Obviously, they're going for all the Windows 10 based apps, I'm sure, is what they're really trying to push. So that opens up that app market, right?
Yes, and the special thing about that for developers is that if you develop an app for Windows 10, then it would be extremely simple to port that app over to the Xbox One and other Windows 10 devices.
And if that's gonna work, here's a doozy. I've been hearing that they're trying to also develop um, compatibility with Android apps as well. So that can just open up a whole range if that compatibility spills over into the Xbox, as well as Windows phones and Windows tablets.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
So, I mean, that I know Windows is trying to go through a lot of different evolutions, and well, if they get that Android compatibility just in their at least in their PCs, and it starts to branch out into their other platforms, that's very beneficial.
Yeah, like this is exactly what Bill Gates wanted. The original idea with the original Xbox was to put Windows in every living room. It wasn't about gaming back then, it was about Windows. And this was the dream, and it's finally coming to fruition after over 10 years. They're finally getting Windows 10 into everyone's living rooms, and I think that God, what word? The word's fallen out of my head. The ecosystem that they've been hoping for this whole time is finally showing now. So you've got the
Yeah, it's
mobile
only
devices.
taken about 10 years.
Yeah.
So,
So you've got
but
mobile
here's the thing:
devices.
as far as the Android goes, I also have been hearing that they're also trying to make a custom iOS emulator for their platforms.
An
So
iOS
yes,
emulator?
yes, so you can actually use Apple apps on their platforms. I'm sure Apple will try to fight that in some way, but that's what I have been hearing.
I'm not surprised. Don't even get me into it. I'm going to have a rant like I did last
You know
episode.
what? As far as corporations go, that's fine. But as far as a consumer goes, if you're on that platform, that's a win-win.
Yeah, it's never
So,
going to run as this. It's never going to run the way it's supposed to run. If you start emulating the iOS stuff.
and I think they've been doing programs to actually change the code to like a Windows app as well. So, like, let's say you do it for iOS, you develop for iOS and and Android, right? And it actually you can just plug it into one of to a Microsoft proprietary program that they offer developers, and it will automatically port it to the Windows device.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think it would make more sense to do it from Android to Windows rather than iOS to Windows. I think
Yep.
iOS is slightly different.
But
But
I think that's the major thing on the developers side.
yeah, so it's exciting times ahead. Windows 10 coming to the Xbox One. If you are part of the Xbox preview program, you should be receiving a message from Xbox Live asking you to opt in to try Windows 10 first. Then, if you opt in, what they'll be doing is they'll be picking people. The first people that get to use Windows 10 on the Xbox One will be people who have contributed to the preview program by filling in surveys and that sort of thing. What do you think, Nexus?
Um, I just wanted to quickly add in though that a lot of as far as the compatibility and everything goes, that's what they're dreaming of. That's what they're trying to basically get off the ground and everything. That's their goal is all those integrations. So they've
Yeah.
made statements about how they're wanting to work. Have they've gotten this code off the ground yet? Have they developed for it yet? They haven't made any statements about that, but they have made statements of this is our end result of what we want. So as far as Android and iOS on their and programs on their platforms, that's their end goal though.
Yeah, I mean, owning the television is a huge priority for lots of different companies. You've got Microsoft, Amazon, Apple. Oh yeah, forgot to mention, new Apple TV was also announced at the Apple conference, and it looks freaking awesome. Beats the hell out of my Apple TV anyways. But yeah, I think the general idea is one operating system, loads of devices, including mobile devices, games consoles, PC, you name it, Windows 10 will be on it, and everything will be linked, and you'll just live your life in a Windows 10 environment. They just want to own everything. And I think that's great, it's encouraging, and I honestly can't wait. So if you get the message, opt in for it. If you're lucky, you'll be chosen. They'll then be growing the user base throughout the preview program, and then it'll go for general release next month. So everyone will have it in October. So there you go. Moving on now, the next topic is, and this is a big one, and I'm excited to talk about this, Halo 5 resolution and frame rate. They'll be looking at you know what, Nexus, you go ahead. This is good.
This one I came across, according to Polygon 343 has basically stated that Halo 5 will not be running at a absolute constant 60 frames per second 1080p. We discussed about this earlier, and although it is kind of a little bit bummy that, you know, the game's not going to be continually running at that resolution and at that frame rate, they at least did confirm that what they're going to be doing is they're going to have that dynamic resolution shifter, so it will be up to 1080p, and then if need be, to keep the frame rate running at a smooth 60 frames per second, they'll scale it down a little bit during heavy graphics processing and stuff like that. That's going to cause that frame rate drop. As if you guys have actually listened to some of our other episodes, we've pretty much on the same boat here when it comes to frame rate over resolution. A smooth frame rate will usually carry a better game in the long run rather than resolution.
Yeah, so I think what they're doing with this is a good thing. I'm not going to bitch about it. Yes, of course, we all want it locked at 1080p 60 frames per second, and we know that most gamers nowadays will have a baby over this. But yeah, I think it's a good thing, because like we've seen in the past, even with some multi-platform games which come to the Xbox platform and let's say the PlayStation platform, like I think the PlayStation platform aims for locked resolution. That's what's important, 1080p, and it's locked. But then what happens is that the frame rate suffers, and we've seen that in numerous titles which are multi-platforms. Whereas on the Xbox platform, you sometimes have the resolution going down to 900p and then back up to 1080p depending on what's going on screen and how demanding the image is, but they keep the frame rate locked at 60 frames per second. I believe that the most important thing is the gameplay, and the gameplay shouldn't suffer, and I think that frame rate is a big part of that, and keeping the frame rate locked at 60 frames per second is extremely important. So I really don't have a problem with this.
Well, from what we've seen, at least in the current, now we really do have to call it current gen consoles now.
Yeah.
Is that whenever two have come out, a multi-platform game, like I've brought this up, like The Witcher, for instance, The Witcher 3, from what I've been hearing from players and a few other online reports, is that yes, The Witcher 3 on, for instance, PlayStation 4 does keep that 10, or it definitely runs at 1080p, but it does drop a little bit in frame rate on that, instead of, like, for instance, the dynamic frame rate slider that they actually did develop for that game for the Xbox One version. Yes, you do lower it. It lowers down to like 900p if necessary. But in the real world, terms of playability and smoothness, some of the reports that I've been hearing from gamers and friends and stuff like that is that the Xbox One version actually runs at least a little better. Yes, you don't get the full 1080p sometimes, but the game is actually more playable because of that. And some other titles do that. Or you'll have titles that have come out on the same platform, and it comes out on 900p, for instance, on Xbox One, but 1080p, and they'll claim 60 frames per second on the PS4, but the PS4 is maximum 60 frames per second, and you'll see that sliding. But the 900p option, although yes, it's not 1080p, has a better constant frame rate of gameplay, and I think that's more important than actual getting that 1080p, 60 frames per second all at the same time. You can't have everything you want, but in the long run, smoothness matters.
Yeah, and the other thing that I think people need to remember, if they're not very technical, is that when the Xbox does scale down to 900p, will you notice? No, you won't notice. You won't have any idea that it's scaled down to 900p. And that's because instead of being 1080p native, it will be 900p upscaled to 1080p. So you will not notice the difference between a 900p image upscaled to 1080p and a 1080p native image. And I think that's the bottom line. You will notice a frame rate drop. If it drops from 60 even down to 55 frames per second, you will notice that, and it will affect your gameplay. Dropping down from 1080p to 900p won't make any difference. And the reason why it's a good thing for Halo and Halo 5 in particular, and this is what they've said anyways, and I agree with it, is that if they didn't bring the resolution down to 900p in this dynamic way, then they wouldn't have been able to scale the game the way they have been able to for Halo 5. So what they're promising is the biggest environments we've ever seen in a Halo game, the biggest battles we've seen in a Halo game, the most things going on screen in a Halo game, and it's more than any Halo game in the past. So yeah, doing this way and sacrificing the resolution, something that we're not going to notice anyways, to keep 60 frames per second and a massive world, I just think it's the right way to go about it, and I'm quite
especially
happy
in scripted events. Like, you're going to have these big gameplays to where your gameplays can be fine at 10. Obviously, this is all speculation. None of us have it. But those big events that you're playing through, there's all this and, going on, and, gameplay can be at 1080p, 60 frames per second. That's great. But sometimes, which in my opinion, when you see a lot of these scripted events going in, buildings rushing down, those things, which don't exactly mean a lot of gameplay problems.
Yeah.
But that I can believe would take a little bit more processing power, and they need to scale it back to keep their frame rate fresh. That I'm completely okay with, and that makes sense to me. It's standard gameplay as long as they can keep it at a good rate of, the 1080p 60 frames per second. That's fine in core gameplay. But in those heavy hitting times, to where like big scripted events or in-game, in-engine cinematics, that would make sense of why they needed to do that.
Yeah, I think I'm quite pleased to say that I'm with 343 Industries on this one. I haven't been with them on a lot of things recently, but yeah, I think it's the right call. And reading what they've said in their like little press releases and stuff, they really are pushing that we are locking 60 frames per second for Halo 5, and that's exactly what I wanted to see, and I'm quite excited about it. So yeah. Oh, and by the way, I'll be playing Halo 5 this month at the EuroGamer Expo in Birmingham. It's in Birmingham this year. I'll be there on Sunday. So if anyone is going to the EuroGamer Expo this month, September 2015, leave a comment below, and I'll be there. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Halo 5, coming out next month, launching October 27th. Moving on, we're going to talk about Nexus's experience with Cortana on his Android device.
Yeah, this is something interesting that I came across about, a few days ago. I did hear that Cortana was coming to Android, and I was able to get a beta program of it. And it was pretty much exactly what I thought it was. It is pretty much like the Siri of Apple. All those little things. The thing that I did really have interest in was all the little things for Halo that it was kind of stashed in there. Yes, they allow you to use internet searches, and they'll bring up your calendar and stuff like that. The beta seems to be fully functional and just fine. Maybe some better widget integration or native Android integration, like have it in the background so we can just talk. Because usually your Android phone's always listening, and you can just say, "Okay, Google," and it will pop up. So far, I haven't seen an integration with the beta form of Cortana yet, but it is what it is. As far as my personal interest in that little app, it is funny to ask questions regarding Halo, or a Master Chief or directly, and having Cortana as that character actually respond back if you ask the right questions. If it's worth your time, pick it up, grab you can find it on a few different sites, stuff like that. Just be careful, verify your source, and try it out for yourself. It is fun. It is entertaining to hear what she can say. And as far as the voice actress goes, she did a very good job at all the voice acting that is included in it. And it is great because I'm surprised they made it for Android, but it's also on Windows 10. And if Windows 10 comes to Xbox, I do believe that it's also coming to Xbox One with that. I do know that the Windows Phone has it too.
Yeah, so Cortana, she's not only on Windows phones and Windows 10. She is coming to Xbox One next month with the Windows 10 update. And surprisingly, Cortana is also coming to iOS devices.
Oh, awesome. They're really spreading it out, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, Cortana's becoming the Tony Hawk. The Tony Hawk of the AI world. She's on everything. Slut. Anyway, so I've played around with Cortana on Windows 10, and yeah, Nexus is completely right. When you make references to Halo, Master Chief, or even about her being an AI and stuff like that, yeah, she does reference a lot of Halo stuff. So yeah, it's really, really cool.
And for you guys who want to ask her some more personal questions, she will gladly point out that she is a machine. So just to keep that in mind when you start to try asking her some more intimate questions. That's all I'm going to leave it at.
Wouldn't it be cool if she was voiced by Jen Taylor? That would have been awesome.
Overall, though, the app came out pretty entertaining, pretty fun. And as I said, if you actually do use those personal assistant apps well enough, I think its integration actually will be suited, especially if you're digging the Halo theme.
Yeah, I use Siri all the time, and with iOS 9 Siri's getting an update, and you can even ask Cortana what she thinks of Siri and that sort of things, and she comes back with some humorous remarks. But yeah, it's really, really cool.
All right, well, I think that wraps up to today's episode. All our information. For those of you still with us, I'm always glad to see you guys in the comments telling us what you liked or disliked. If you guys got any ideas for any future topics or events that are going on, just tell us in the comments below.
Yeah, comment below, let us know what you thought of the episode. If you have any suggestions for the name of this podcast, then yeah, let us know in the comments as well. We are looking for a new name instead of DeeKay Nexus Discussions, because as you know, when you abbreviate it to DND, everyone thinks that we're about Dungeons and Dragons, and we couldn't be further from it. But yeah, leave a like if you like this discussion we've had today. Leave a dislike if you disliked it, and leave a comment below and let us know what you thought. So yeah, thank you for watching, guys. I'm DeeKay86.
And I'm Next Device, man. You guys stay frosty.
Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.